Raj had always looked to the stars, captivated by the mysteries of the universe since he was a child. His fascination only grew as he pursued his studies in astrophysics part-time, balancing a day job with his passion for space exploration. With a keen understanding of celestial phenomena and a yearning to contribute to scientific discovery, Raj decided it was time to elevate his hobby. He invested in a professional-grade telescope, setting it up meticulously in his backyard as part of a NASA program dedicated to monitoring deep space phenomena. As night fell and the sky darkened, Raj felt an exhilarating sense of purpose. He envisioned himself not just an observer of the cosmos, but an active participant in groundbreaking research. The telescope stood like a sentinel against the night's canvas, ready to capture the awe-inspiring beauty of celestial events and share them with enthusiasts around the globe through live streaming. However, Raj's excitement was soon met with unexpected resistance from his neighborhood's homeowners association, HOA. Unbeknownst to him, their rigid guidelines regarding visible mechanical equipment and privacy concerns would soon turn into barriers threatening his exploration. As he began broadcasting his findings and engaging with fellow astronomy lovers online, complaints started rolling into the HOA. With each passing day, tensions grew between Raj and the HOA board. Raj attempted to engage them in dialogue, hoping they might understand the significance of his work. He explained how his observations could contribute invaluable data to scientific communities around the world. Unfortunately, his pleas fell on deaf ears. They were unmoved by his passion or credentials. The situation escalated rapidly when the HOA imposed hefty fines on Raj for maintaining what they deemed an unsightly structure. They issued cease and desist letters demanding he dismantle his beloved observatory within 30 days or face further penalties. Raj found himself drowning in frustration as he grappled with their lack of understanding about science and discovery. Determined not to back down, Raj continued with his streaming sessions until one fateful evening when everything changed. In a drastic move aimed at silencing him once and for all, the HOA cut off power to his property during prime observing hours. As darkness enveloped him without warning, Raj realized that this was not just about neighborhood aesthetics. It was about stifling scientific curiosity in its purest form. Thus began a tumultuous struggle, not just for Raj's right to observe, but for something much larger, the freedom to pursue knowledge in one's own backyard. As Raj's determination grew, so did the scrutiny from his neighborhood's homeowners association, HOA. The HOA, a group known for its vigilant enforcement of community standards, operated under a strict set of guidelines designed to maintain the aesthetics and privacy of the neighborhood. Among these rules were prohibitions against visible mechanical equipment, a category into which Raj's telescope ominously fell. This regulation, originally intended to preserve a certain charm within the community, now threatened Raj's aspirations. The association held frequent meetings to discuss any deviations from their norms, and the telescope had come up more than once. Gripped by a fear of changes in their well-manicured surroundings, several members expressed outrage about what they perceived as Raj's intrusion into their peaceful lives. They argued that the conspicuous nature of his observatory was not only an eyesore but also an invasion of privacy, despite Raj's insistence that he was simply observing celestial bodies millions of miles away. Raj's initial conversations with the HOA board were framed by hope. He attended the meetings in good faith, explaining how his telescope served an important scientific purpose and how he aimed to engage with and inspire the community rather than disrupt it. He demonstrated how his setup was meticulously positioned to minimize its visibility and impact on their precious viewscapes. However, his words felt like tossing pebbles into an ocean. They stirred little insight or empathy among the board members. As complaints mounted from other residents worried about dark skies being lit up by Raj's live streaming sessions, the HOA formally took action. Fines began appearing in Raj's mailbox, notice after notice informing him that he was in violation of their rules and subject to immediate financial penalties if he did not comply with demands to remove his telescope. Each letter felt like a heavier weight on his shoulders, as his dreams of contributing to significant scientific research warred against institutional rigidity. When faced with cease and desist orders demanding swift compliance, Raj realized that negotiation was no longer an option. He was fighting for something much larger than just a telescope. He was standing for scientific exploration itself. Frustrated but resolute, he continued broadcasting from his backyard despite the growing tensions. This defiance culminated when unauthorized nighttime visits led the HOA members to cut off power to his home, while he streamed one of his sessions under clear skies filled with stars. A move meant to silence him, but instead igniting a resolve that would soon ripple far beyond their neighborhood walls. What had started as resistance against local conventions quickly transformed into a showdown over freedom, knowledge, and discovery in an age when such pursuits should be cherished rather than curtailed. Despite the mounting pressure from the Homeowners Association, HOA, Raj remained resolute in his commitment to sharing the wonders of the universe. Armed with a sense of purpose, he sought out meetings with the HOA board, eager to articulate not only his love for astronomy, but also how his telescope served as a conduit for scientific discovery. He meticulously prepared his presentations, outlining the details of his involvement with NASA and how his observations were more than just personal interest. They were part of a larger initiative aimed at expanding humanity's understanding of deep space phenomena. At the next HOA meeting, Raj approached the board with enthusiasm, presenting charts and data that illustrated how his observations could contribute to invaluable research. He spoke passionately about upcoming events in the night sky, including rare cosmic occurrences that could be captured through his telescope and shared with enthusiasts around the globe. His heartfelt plea was intended to bridge the gap between community standards and scientific exploration. However, Raj soon discovered that good intentions often fell on deaf ears. The board members appeared unmoved by his presentations, their expressions reflecting doubt rather than curiosity. Instead of engaging in meaningful dialogue about the benefits of scientific inquiry and education, they reiterated their concerns regarding visible mechanical equipment, infringing upon neighborhood aesthetics. Some members even lamented their fears that children playing outside might be somehow inconvenienced by Raj's activities, an argument he found perplexing given its lack of foundational basis in reality. Undeterred, Raj attempted to appeal to their sense of community values. He envisioned hosting stargazing nights where neighbors could gather to share in the awe of celestial events. To him, this was not just about standing on his property, it was about nurturing a community spirit centered around curiosity and discovery. Yet, to Raj's dismay, any suggestion aimed at fostering collaboration was met with dismissal, as if they considered science a dirty word rather than a bridge for connection. As weeks turned into months filled with fruitless discussions and mounting tensions, it became increasingly clear that negotiation would yield no results. The HOA members were entrenched in their positions, unwilling to recognize that Raj's contributions could enhance rather than disrupt their tightly controlled environment. His sincere efforts seemed futile against an organization more focused on maintaining uniformity than promoting knowledge or creativity. Feeling increasingly isolated in his pursuit of knowledge amid growing hostility from those around him, Raj realized he had unwittingly stepped into a challenging battle, one where principles of scientific exploration clashed directly with rigid adherence to aesthetic rules. Nevertheless, he remained determined to find a way forward that allowed him not only to watch, but also to share the wonders above with anyone willing to look up. As the HOA's resistance to Raj's telescope intensified, the conflict escalated to an alarming degree. Initially, Raj had dismissed the board's warnings as mere bureaucratic overreach, but it soon became clear that they were dead set on making an example of him. One day, he returned home to find an official letter from the HOA lying on his doorstep. It was a fine, one that felt like a slap in the face, detailing how he was in violation of their strict guidelines regarding visible mechanical equipment. The fine was just the beginning. As days turned into weeks, more letters began to arrive, each one more threatening than the last. They accused him of creating an eyesore and breaching community standards, demanding immediate compliance with their directives. The tone of these letters grew increasingly combative, as if they were trying to paint Raj not just as a rule breaker, but as a rogue element disrupting the harmony of their neighborhood. Despite Raj's attempts to appeal to reason and demonstrate how his work had broader implications for scientific discovery, the HOA remained unmoved. Their next step was to issue a cease and desist order demanding that he dismantle his beloved observatory within 30 days or face further penalties. The words felt like daggers. It was not just a structure they were attacking, but his passion, his dreams, and his connection to the cosmos. Raj couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of injustice. How could they not see the beauty and significance behind what he was doing? He envisioned nights filled with wonder where neighbors could gather around to witness celestial events through his telescope. Yet instead, he found himself battling against an institution more concerned with maintaining conformity than fostering curiosity. In a desperate bid to protect his work, Raj decided he would not comply with their demands. He continued live streaming his observations and sharing the wonders of the universe online despite the mounting tensions. Each night under the stars became a silent protest against a system that sought to stifle his exploration. However, this defiance only fueled the HOA's determination. They ramped up their efforts by sending additional fines and invoking threats of legal action, hoping to intimidate him into submission. The battle lines had been drawn. Raj knew he was now embroiled in a struggle that transcended personal interest. It was about the fundamental right to pursue knowledge and share it freely. As Raj stared through his telescope that evening, contemplating the vastness above him, he realized that this fight was no longer just his own. It had become a matter of principle against an establishment unwilling to embrace change or innovation. With every star he observed, he felt an unwavering resolve ignite within him, a commitment not only to his own aspirations, but also to future generations who would look up in wonder and seek answers among the stars. As tensions reached a boiling point, the Homeowners Association, HOA, decided to take drastic measures against Raj. In a move that felt both punitive and alarming, they cut off his power supply without warning, effectively crippling his ability to live stream the night sky events he had worked so hard to share with the world. This action not only extinguished the light in his observatory, but also threatened upcoming research endeavors that were integral to his commitments with NASA. Raj was devastated. The power outage came at an inopportune time, just days before a highly anticipated celestial event that would attract thousands of viewers online. His heart sank as he realized that this was more than just an inconvenience. It was a direct attack on his ability to engage in scientific inquiry and share it with others. The telescope, which had become his window to the cosmos, now stood silent and dark, a symbol of the HOA's oppressive grip. Feeling trapped and frustrated, Raj quickly mobilized his resources. He reached out to friends in the astronomy community, urging them to spread the word about the HOA's actions. He posted updates on social media about the power outage and the implications for his work, hoping that public awareness could shine a light on his plight. Within hours, support began pouring in from fellow enthusiasts and scientists alike, many expressing outrage at what they saw as an infringement on scientific freedom. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Raj, thousands of viewers around the world eagerly awaited the live feed of the event he had planned to capture. As darkness enveloped his backyard observatory, they remained oblivious to the battle raging behind the scenes. Many had set their alarms early in anticipation of witnessing rare cosmic phenomena through Raj's lens, an opportunity now snatched away by bureaucracy and stubbornness. Raj knew he had to act quickly. Desperate times called for desperate measures. With determination coursing through him, he began devising a plan that would not only restore power, but also galvanize support against the HOA's heavy-handed tactics. He contacted local news outlets, willing to go public with his story if it meant bringing attention to what he felt was a violation of rights, a fight for knowledge and exploration stifled by narrow-minded regulations. As he prepared for battle, Raj couldn't shake off a sense of impending urgency. Every moment counted as precious opportunities slipped away into the vast night sky above him. What started as an innocent passion had transformed into a high-stakes confrontation between creativity and conformity. With each star twinkling above him in defiance of terrestrial constraints, Raj knew deep down that he would not back down easily. This was about far more than simply reclaiming power. It was about igniting curiosity and ensuring future generations could explore without fear of retribution or restriction. As the confrontation between Raj and the Homeowners Association, HOA, intensified, a crucial twist emerged that would change the dynamics of the conflict entirely. Raj had long kept a significant part of his life hidden from his neighbors, not out of shame, but due to the nature of his work. He was not just an avid astronomy enthusiast, he was a remote consultant for NASA, actively involved in an international space research initiative. This initiative relied heavily on real-time observations from amateur astronomers around the globe, and Raj's backyard observatory played a pivotal role. His telescope was not merely a hobbyist's tool. It was a gateway to capturing rare cosmic events that could contribute valuable data to ongoing studies about deep space phenomena. Information gathered from his live feeds would be shared with scientists and researchers across continents, aiding in projects that sought to unlock the universe's mysteries. Raj had been especially excited about an upcoming celestial event, a rare alignment of planets that promised to be breathtaking and scientifically significant. He had coordinated with fellow researchers who were depending on him to provide crucial observational data during this time. However, with the HOA's recent actions now jeopardizing his ability to stream these observations, he felt an urgent pressure not only to defend his rights, but also to fulfill his professional obligations. Determined to expose the truth about his work and its importance, Raj began formulating a strategy. He realized that if he could convey the significance of his role at NASA, it might garner support not just from fans of astronomy, but also from those who valued scientific progress. The stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about defending personal freedom. It was about ensuring that critical scientific research could proceed unhindered. Bold move, Raj prepared to share his story with local media outlets. He contacted journalists, outlining how the HOA's interference threatened not only his rights, but also wider scientific discoveries tied to global research efforts. As he spoke passionately about how his work could illuminate our understanding of the cosmos, he felt a renewed sense of purpose swell within him. The potential ripple effects of revealing his affiliations became apparent as more people began taking notice. Fellow astronomers rallied behind him, eager to support someone whose work aligned with their own aspirations for exploration and inquiry. Scientists expressed their dismay over bureaucratic restrictions hindering vital research, while advocates for scientific freedom echoed Raj's sentiments in social media campaigns. As he prepared for interviews and press coverage, Raj recognized that this confrontation had evolved into something much larger than himself. It represented a clash between innovation and institutional rigidity. With each passing day leading up to the celestial event, he felt increasingly empowered by the thought of standing up for both scientific advancement and the right to freely explore the wonders of space from his own backyard. As the highly anticipated celestial event approached, excitement grew not only in Raj's backyard but worldwide among astronomy enthusiasts who had been eagerly waiting for weeks. The rare planetary alignment promised breathtaking views and invaluable data for the international research initiative that Raj was part of. He felt a surge of adrenaline as he prepared for the live stream, knowing that thousands of viewers across the globe were poised to join him on this extraordinary journey through the cosmos. However, just hours before the event was set to begin, an uneasy silence hung in the air. Raj set up his equipment meticulously, double-checking his connections and ensuring that everything was in place for the moment he had long awaited. As twilight descended, illuminating the sky with a soft glow, he felt a mix of anticipation and dread about the HOA's previous threats. He held his breath as the countdown clock ticked closer to zero, hoping against hope that nothing would go wrong this time. Then disaster struck. Moments before the live stream was scheduled to start, his screen flickered ominously and went dark. Panic surged through him as he fumbled with his equipment. There was no power flowing to his observatory. As reality sank in, a sinking feeling settled in his stomach. His worst fears had come to pass. With his ability to broadcast ripped away by the HOA's interference, Raj realized that thousands of eager viewers were about to be disappointed. As darkness enveloped his backyard and rendered his telescope useless, a wave of frustration washed over him. Raj understood that this was not just a personal loss, it was a critical blow to scientific exploration. The thousands who had lined up to witness the celestial dance would now be left in the dark, oblivious to the struggle occurring just beyond their reach. Meanwhile, social media lit up with confusion and disappointment as viewers worldwide shared their frustrations over the loss of the live feed. Many were left wondering what had happened and expressing outrage at the obstructive actions taken against Raj. Fellow astronomers who had been counting on his observations began to voice their concerns publicly, calling attention to how bureaucratic issues could jeopardize vital scientific work. Raj felt an overwhelming sense of urgency rising within him. This moment could not be static, it needed to propel action. As he gathered his thoughts in the dark, he knew that he had a decision to make, to let the HOA's actions define this setback or transform it into a rallying point for advocacy. With every minute that passed, he resolved to turn the disappointment into a powerful narrative, a narrative that would expose the truth about his work and bring attention to the fight against institutional barriers stifling scientific inquiry. The darkened screen symbolized more than just a technical failure. It embodied the larger struggle between ambition and obstruction. Raj understood that now was the time to amplify his voice louder than ever before. He would ensure that those watching, whether in their homes or across the globe, knew exactly what had transpired and why it mattered for future scientific exploration. With renewed determination coursing through him, Raj vowed not to let this setback go unchallenged. It was time to shine a light on the injustices facing him and others like him dedicated to uncovering the wonders of the universe. In the aftermath of the failed live stream, Raj's story began to garner significant media attention. News outlets picked up on the tale of a passionate astrophysicist thwarted by a local homeowners association, sparking discussions about scientific freedom and community rights. As social media buzzed with outrage over the HOA's actions, it wasn't long before NASA took notice of the incident. Recognizing the implications of Raj's situation, NASA launched an investigation into the power disruption during the celestial event. They were concerned not just for Raj's individual case, but also for how such bureaucratic interference could impact future research initiatives reliant on public engagement and amateur contributions. As part of their inquiry, NASA examined communications between Raj and the HOA, as well as any relevant interactions within the community that might shed light on why this incident occurred. The investigation quickly revealed a clear pattern. The HOA's aggressive tactics were not merely personal vendettas, but systematic attempts to stifle scientific exploration within their jurisdiction. Documents surfaced showing that they had indeed targeted Raj specifically due to his visibility and influence in the astronomy community. The findings were alarming. It became evident that their actions had significantly curtailed an important opportunity for public engagement with science. As details of the HOA's meddling emerged, public sentiment shifted dramatically in Raj's favor. Activists rallied around his cause, urging local authorities to reconsider regulations that allowed such overreach from neighborhood associations. Fellow astronomers joined forces with science advocates to push for changes in local governance that would protect researchers and enthusiasts from similar injustices in the future. With each passing day, Raj felt a surge of renewed hope as support poured in from unexpected corners. From local politicians promising to investigate HOA practices to scientists who offered to collaborate on future projects should he regain access to his observatory. The tide was turning, and it was slowly becoming clear that Raj's battle against bureaucratic obstruction was resonating far beyond his own backyard. Meanwhile, as NASA concluded its investigation, they prepared to make a formal statement condemning the HOA's interference as detrimental not only to Raj, but also to scientific inquiry at large. When they finally released their findings to the public, it sent shockwaves through the community. Many residents who initially sided with the HOA began questioning whether their strict guidelines served a greater purpose or simply hindered progress. With momentum building around him and awareness surrounding his plight at an all-time high, Raj realized he had transitioned from being merely a victim of circumstance to a beacon of advocacy for scientific freedom. He was determined to use this moment not only to reclaim his right to observe the stars, but also to inspire change that would pave the way for generations of aspiring astronomers who sought knowledge under night skies unclouded by bureaucracy. The fight ahead promised challenges, but armed with newfound support and purpose, Raj felt ready to take on whatever came next. With momentum building and public support soaring, Raj prepared to deliver a powerful televised statement that would address the situation head-on. The opportunity was both thrilling and daunting. He understood that this moment could be pivotal not just for his own fight, but also for countless others who shared his passion for science and exploration. As cameras rolled and the lights brightened, he took a deep breath, ready to share his story with the world. Raj spoke passionately about the joy of astronomy and the importance of scientific inquiry. He recounted how his backyard observatory had become a vital tool for research, contributing to an international initiative that sought to unlock cosmic secrets through real-time observation. With sincerity in his voice, he explained how the homeowners association's HOA actions had not only silenced him, but also jeopardized significant opportunities for public engagement in scientific discovery. His frustration turned into a clarion call as he highlighted the need for communities to embrace curiosity rather than stifle it. The emotions in Raj's voice resonated with viewers as he detailed the personal impact of the HOA's interference. He conveyed how their aggressive tactics were not merely about aesthetics, but represented an alarming trend where bureaucratic barriers obstructed access to knowledge. We should be fostering environments where science is celebrated, not hidden away because of fear of what others might think, he urged, emphasizing that everyone should have the right to explore the wonders of the universe without undue restrictions. As Raj continued, he deftly wove in stories from fellow astronomers who had faced similar challenges, turning his personal narrative into a collective movement advocating for scientific rights in residential areas. He called on viewers to rally not just around his cause, but to push for broader changes that would protect future generations of scientists and enthusiasts from facing similar obstacles. The broadcast quickly gained traction, sending shockwaves through social media as hashtags supporting Raj's cause began trending. Many viewers expressed outrage at the HOA's actions while sharing their own experiences of bureaucratic hurdles in their pursuits of knowledge. Activists and fellow scientists joined in, amplifying Raj's message and turning it into a grassroots movement that demanded accountability and reform. As the broadcast concluded, Raj felt a renewed sense of purpose wash over him. This was more than just a plea for his own rights. It had transformed into a profound call for action against institutional rigidity that threatened to stifle innovation and exploration. The impact of his message was palpable, igniting discussions nationwide about the rights of individuals to pursue scientific inquiry within their communities. With each passing moment, Raj realized that he was no longer just fighting a personal battle. He was leading a charge towards change, one that would echo far beyond his neighborhood and inspire aspiring scientists everywhere to stand firm against obstacles in their quest for knowledge. The fight was far from over, but now, armed with newfound support and visibility, Raj felt ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. In the wake of Raj's powerful televised statement, the media coverage exploded, capturing the attention of not just local but national audiences. News outlets began to report extensively on the confrontation between Raj and the Homeowners Association, HOA, highlighting how their heavy-handed tactics stifled scientific inquiry and undermined community engagement with the cosmos. As stories unfolded, the HOA's reputation took a sharp downturn. Their strict regulations and aggressive enforcement actions were painted as obstacles to inspiration and discovery. Public outcry grew as viewers resonated with Raj's plight, many expressing their outrage over how a neighborhood organization could impose such restrictions on someone pursuing knowledge. Social media played a crucial role in amplifying his message, with hashtags related to Raj's fight trending across platforms. Activists quickly seized upon this momentum, organizing campaigns to demand changes in local governance that would protect individuals from similar bureaucratic overreach. As more journalists investigated the situation, they discovered a pattern of complaints against the HOA's practices from various residents who felt oppressed by its stringent rules. The revelations added fuel to the fire. Homeowners across the community began speaking out about their experiences and how they feared retaliation for voicing dissenting opinions. The HOA was portrayed not only as an obstructionist force, but also as a bully wielding its power indiscriminately. With each new article published and social media post shared, the narrative surrounding Raj's battle transformed into a broader conversation about scientific rights, community involvement, and individual freedoms. This newfound awareness led to a wave of support for Raj that surpassed all expectations. Fellow scientists offered to collaborate on future projects should he regain access to his observatory, while local politicians began discussing potential reforms aimed at curtailing HOA authority over scientific endeavors. As discussions around these reforms gained traction, Raj realized that he had become an emblem of resistance against institutional barriers faced by aspiring scientists everywhere. He was no longer just fighting for his right to observe the stars. He was standing up for anyone who had ever felt silenced in their pursuit of knowledge and creativity. The fallout from his statement culminated in a significant shift in public perception concerning HOAs across the country. Many began questioning whether such organizations should have jurisdiction over personal pursuits that did not harm others or disrupt community harmony. The HOA's reputation became infamous as people categorized them among those institutions resisting progress and innovation rather than fostering curiosity. With this shift in consciousness sweeping through communities nationwide, Raj felt empowered by the collective voice advocating for change. He understood that while his struggle might have begun as an isolated fight against an oppressive association, it had blossomed into a vital movement pushing society towards greater acceptance of scientific exploration in residential zones. As he prepared for the next steps in this ongoing battle, Raj knew he wasn't alone. He was leading a charge fueled by passion, purpose, and an unwavering belief in the importance of knowledge in every backyard across America. In response to the overwhelming public outcry following Raj's televised statement, NASA took decisive action by filing a formal complaint with local authorities against the Homeowners Association, HOA. The complaint detailed how the HOA's actions not only obstructed Raj's ability to conduct his research, but also set a dangerous precedent that could hinder scientific inquiry in residential areas across the nation. NASA's reputation as a leading authority on space exploration lent significant weight to their allegations, and local officials were compelled to take the matter seriously. As the investigation began, it became clear that Raj's situation had broader implications that extended beyond his own backyard. Local officials started scrutinizing the HOA's governance and policies regarding regulations affecting scientific activities. It was evident that their strict enforcement of aesthetic guidelines had discouraged community engagement in scientific endeavors, stifling innovation and curiosity among residents. The fallout from NASA's complaint rippled through the community, prompting an emergency meeting of the HOA board. As members gathered to discuss their strategy, they found themselves at the center of an escalating controversy. Media outlets continued to report on the HOA's heavy-handed approach, amplifying public scrutiny and revealing a growing sentiment against such restrictive practices. Residents who had previously been silent now felt emboldened to voice their concerns, sharing stories about how the HOA's policies had stifled their own interests in hobbies like gardening, astronomy, and even small-scale art installations. In light of this mounting pressure, local government officials proposed a series of reforms aimed at curtailing the HOA's excessive authority over personal pursuits that did not disrupt community harmony. These reforms would ensure that residents could engage in creative and scientific explorations without fear of retaliation. The discussions marked a significant shift in policy thinking, emphasizing support for both individual freedoms and community engagement. As Raj watched these developments unfold, he felt a mixture of relief and empowerment. His struggle had sparked a movement calling for change, transforming him into a figurehead advocating for scientific freedom in residential spaces. He was approached by local politicians who expressed their support for his cause and invited him to collaborate on initiatives that would educate residents about the value of scientific inquiry. With NASA's backing and growing community support, Raj felt invigorated as he prepared for the next steps in his fight. He began organizing town hall meetings to discuss scientific rights with his neighbors, encouraging participation in stargazing events that could unite the community through shared wonder rather than division. His vision expanded beyond just reclaiming his observatory. It became about fostering an environment where curiosity could flourish without fear. The HOA's reputation plummeted as many residents began advocating for transparency and accountability within its ranks. The momentum was undeniable. Raj realized that while victory was still on the horizon, he was no longer alone in this battle. He had ignited a spark for change that promised not only to clear the way for his own aspirations, but also pave the path for countless others seeking knowledge and exploration under an open sky. As the dust began to settle from the whirlwind of media coverage and community activism, a decisive moment arrived for Raj. The local authorities, responding to the overwhelming public support and NASA's formal complaint, convened to address the issues surrounding the Homeowners Association, HOA, and its restrictive practices. After careful consideration of the evidence and testimonies gathered during the investigation, they announced a significant policy change. Raj would be granted permanent access to operate his observatory, and he would receive police protection during future live streaming events. The announcement resonated as both a victory for Raj and a crucial step toward ensuring that scientific inquiry could coexist with neighborhood harmony. Raj felt a swell of emotion as he learned the outcome. His perseverance had not only reclaimed his right to observe the stars, but had also created a blueprint for others facing similar challenges in their communities. This was more than just personal triumph. It was a landmark moment that recognized the value of scientific exploration in residential areas. As news of Raj's victory spread, it ignited further discussions on how other communities could adopt similar policies that embraced scientific innovation while respecting neighborhood aesthetics. The HOA, now infamous for its heavy-handed tactics, faced mounting pressure to reevaluate its guidelines. Residents began advocating for transparency and accountability within its ranks, calling for reforms that would allow greater freedom for personal pursuits that enriched community life. Raj's neighborly stargazing events began attracting attention as well, turning them into well-attended gatherings where people from all walks of life came together under the night sky. Each event fostered discussions about science and curiosity, bridging gaps between those who had once felt alienated by restrictive regulations. Families brought their children, eager to share the wonders of astronomy in a setting that celebrated inquiry rather than discouraged it. Meanwhile, local politicians recognized Raj's role as an advocate for scientific rights and invited him to participate in forums discussing community engagement in science. His insights proved invaluable as he shared firsthand experiences about how oppressive policies could stifle creativity, urging lawmakers to prioritize individual freedoms while still maintaining communal standards. Empowered by these developments, Raj continued to work closely with scientists and educators to promote programs aimed at fostering interest in STEM fields among young people. The collaboration highlighted how inclusive environments could inspire future generations of innovators and explorers, a legacy Raj was determined to cultivate. As he prepared for another live stream event, this time with police protection ensuring he could share his passion without fear, Raj reflected on how far he had come. What began as an isolated struggle against an obstructionist, HOA had transformed into a movement pushing back against institutional barriers faced by aspiring scientists everywhere. With each passing day, he felt invigorated by the thought of leading this charge alongside his community, confident that together they could create an environment where both scientific inquiry and neighborhood peace could thrive harmoniously under an open sky.